What's up, Mustang crew? Today we are changing the brake fluid, the front rotors, and the front brake pads on this 2002 Ford Mustang. This video is for the advanced DIYer who needs a quick step-by-step guide. I assume you already know the basics of brake bleeding, but if you don't, watch those videos in the description. There you'll learn how to build your own brake bleeding tool, and you'll learn the basics, such as never let your master cylinder run dry and never get brake fluid on your paint. You'll need about 1 quart for the entire flush, and let's get started. Step number 1 is to remove fluid from the master cylinder, be that with a turkey baster or vacuum pump. You can also skip this step and we'll bleed it out later to the caliper. Now, I know in this type of car you're supposed to bleed the caliper furthest away from the master cylinder, but for the purposes of this video, since I'm changing the front rotors, I'm going to start with the closest caliper just to show you that it's not going to hurt anything. And if my brake pedal is still spongy after, I'll just go ahead and re-bleed the whole thing in the proper order. So let's do it. Step number 2 is to get the car in the air and get the rim off. Now with the 12mm, take out these slide bolts. Make sure you have a crescent wrench, because if you don't, the bolt's going to slide and it's not going to get anywhere. I will be resting the caliper on top of these old whey protein containers, and I'll also be adding an old piece of cardboard to the floor. Step number 3, you might want to take a picture of how those anti-rattle clips are sitting. So remove your old brakes. Use a 15mm socket to remove the caliper mounting bracket. You might need to use some WD-40 to loosen up the bolts. And you might need to use your breaker bar. I know I did. After that, the rotor just slides off. Slap on your nitrile gloves and clean your slider pin bolts. Make sure you grease them up with the correct lubricant. After that, grab a bottle of brake lean. Make sure all your mating surfaces are clean, here and on the caliper. Also use your brake lean to spray down your new rotor to remove that factory coating. After you're done with that, slide the rotor back into place. Step number 5, slide in your rotor and then mount your caliper bracket. The 15mm bolts torque down to 85 foot-pounds. To me that seems a little excessive, so I'm going with 80 foot-pounds. The brake hardware, make sure the long part of the brackets of the anti-rattle clips, make sure the long part sticks towards the outside. The brakes themselves, one has lands and the other has grooves. The one that has grooves goes towards the piston, and the one that has the lands goes on the outside. Lubricating grease, you can put it wherever there's movement. I'm also going to be adding some grease to the back of the brake pad closest to the piston. Step 6 is to compress your piston, but first you want to open that bleeder screw with the 10mm. Now as you push in the piston, all that fluid is either going to drip onto a drip pan, or you can connect your hose. It's up to you. Now this tool is really easy to use. You just turn it to the right and the piston compresses in. To take it off, you just grab your crescent wrench and turn this bolt or this screw onto the left. And that's it. Step 7. Don't forget to add your new brake hardware to the caliper. The two 12mm slide pin bolts torqued down to 23 foot-pounds. Now open up your bleeder screw and connect your homemade bleeding kit. Alright, next we're going to bleed the brakes. My key is in the on position. The engine is not running. We're going to pump the brakes about 7 times. Pedal going about halfway through. Here's the first one. There go, second. There go, third. There go, fourth. Fifth. Sixth. Seventh. Eighth. Ninth. And I decided to go 10th. Do this until the fluid appears clear and free of bubbles. You might need to repeat these steps a few times. And don't forget to top off your master cylinder as necessary. Now we put the rim back on there, and we do the same thing to the other side. Now the back of the car is a lot easier to get to. If you're a skinnier guy like me, you can just fit. And bam, right there, bleeder screw. And you can just connect your hose to it and do the bleeding process. You don't even have to jack up the car. Same with the other side. So the rear screws are really easy to get to. All you need is a 7/16 line wrench to open up those bleeder screws. Now it is an 18-year-old car, so you might want to replace your bleeder screws. Look at this one. Yeah. $15 at AutoZone. It's worth it. So I hope you guys learned a lot. It's a simple job. You just got to be careful with your steps. And I'll see you guys next time.